Hi, my name is Khaula and I am a self-taught local artist. I want to share a few things that I have learned on my art journey to hopefully save you some time, avoid some mistakes and some heartaches. This is the first video in a series of 3 for Arts Unite on some financial tips and advice. So when I got into art, I just kind of went with the flow. I didn't have any particular plan and I wasn't really sure of what I was doing or which direction I was going. It was just art. I was just doing art and I didn't really think of it as anything besides a hobby. I did, however, take whatever opportunities came my way and convince myself to try some new things and move out of my comfort zone. The other thing is I'm super organized and I like to write everything down because I want to be able to visualize exactly what's happening. So that was very helpful. That said, I was pretty financially illiterate, and that's mainly because I've never had to manage anything financial. I did take a short business course, and that helped me learn a lot of the basic things to keep in mind. Although we artists don't like to kind of spend time on other things besides creating, that is far from, being practical or realistic. So it helps to keep organized and just to keep the chaos in check. It also helps to approach your art as a serious business and profession rather than just as a hobby. So one of the first things to consider is, where is your money coming from? And I know this may sound very common sense and very basic, but sometimes when you are starting out, it's just something you don't think of. I certainly did not think of anything like that. If anybody had asked me when I had started art where my income was coming from, I would just be like, from art. So you really need to break that down and see exactly which part of the art it is coming from. For example, not any income was coming in from the art I was creating. I didn't get a lot of commissions when I just started out. So anything that I had actually painted was not selling, and there was no income coming from there. I rarely sold any work. The income that I was getting was coming from the paint sessions that I had instructed. And once I could see that on paper and I understood that, okay, this looks like a good thing, there's some income coming in from here, and I could start to focus on how to make that process even better. So once you have it all down, you can see what kind of income is coming in from where, and you can analyze it. So say you were doing events or instructing, which location worked better? Was it one location over another? What timing worked better? What kind of event worked better? Was there any particular painting that people really enjoyed creating and learning how to create more than another painting? So once you've done this, you can really analyze and do your homework and see what to focus on when you are doing your events. Once I understood this, I could be more efficient in the events I did, which led to a bigger income and gave me a little bit more money to spend on things like creating art with better material and maybe entering into shows that I wouldn't have thought of before because they were a little more costly. So that income coming in from the art events, which I had kind of, improved upon, helped me to have a bigger spending budget on different aspects of the art. So once I could start spending more on the art I created, it helped me to get my art more out there rather than just sitting on my shelf because it was something I created and I didn't really have the budget to do shows. Once that happened, I did start selling more because my art was out there, I was reaching a bigger audience. And again, once you have those shows and those things down on paper, you can see, okay, which shows worked better for you, which shows garnered more interest. Was it the location? Was it the kind of audience that was coming in? It helps you see which clients are interested in the kind of art you make. And again, then it saves you from signing up for every show, every event, which when you're a new artist, you sometimes try to do, but it isn't the best idea because these shows can cost a lot. They do get to be very time consuming. You spread yourself thin and you suffer burnout and start to feel frustration. and then it's no longer something you love to do, but you start to get intimidated by it. And of course, you might be broke at the end of it. So it's better to have it all down on paper, and that way you can analyze it, do your homework, and see what is working and what is not. Knowing where your money is coming in from helps you target your potential client. So the second thing you want to think about is where your money is going. Keep all your receipts. Compare where your money is coming in from and where it is going. For example, I would ask myself, am I spending too much money on art supplies that I use to just create art when I should be spending it on like higher quality art supplies for the painting instruction that I do? Since my main income was coming from instructing, I needed to make sure that that's where I was focusing my spending on. Artists going into an art supply store is the equivalent of a 5-year-old in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, because we just see it and we want it all. So you really need to control yourself, when you're in that art supply store, because yes, we do want to experiment and buy all the mediums, but you really need to see what you need, because you have to be very careful with the money that has come in. So yes, do set aside an amount for some new mediums you want to experiment with, but don't spend it all on just every art supply you want to try out. Art supplies can be very expensive, so you want to treat your art supplies with a lot of respect as well. When you're done with your work for the time, make sure all the caps are closed really tightly, make sure your brushes are rinsed out, washed, and laid out to dry. And do that right away. I find that as soon as I wind up, I try to do that all the time, just at that time, because if I think that I'm going to come back to it after doing something else, I usually forget, which ends up in a lot of dried brushes that can, with paint on them, that cannot be salvaged. So you do want to treat your art supplies with a lot of respect. The other thing is you should really build a relationship with the place you get your art supplies from. You can ask to speak to the manager and discuss having maybe some discounts since you buy from them in bulk for maybe your events or art projects. Offer to promote them at your events. When I do my paint sessions, I usually take flyers or cards so that I can hand them out, because participants always want to know where my art supplies are coming from, and I'm more than happy to promote the art supplier who was kind enough to make sure that I got all my supplies on time, and since I'm buying in bulk, they offer me a really good discount. So besides supplies, you will be spending on memberships and shows and events. Again, you really have to analyze the worth of these shows and events. Not all of them will be for you. Some of them may be really great, but they are featuring artists that have work that is nothing like yours. So you really need to be able to judge if that show is for you, what kind of audience they're attracting, what kind of work the other artists have, if that is a place you can either sell your art or get really good exposure for the type of art you do. Again, trying to do all the shows, all the events, it really costs a lot of money. It also ends up in you being very burnt out and tired, and maybe not being able to produce the quality of work that you should be producing because the deadlines for those shows are looming close. You want to submit, you want to be there, but then it's coming at the expense of the quality of work you're doing. So focus on quality and not quantity. Does that art show do your work justice? And does that bring in the kind of audience that you were looking for? So to help me keep track of where the money is coming in from and where it is going, I like to maintain a cash flow sheet. It is one of the best things I learned from the short business course I did, and one of the best things I took away from that course was actually a template for an Excel sheet for cash flow. So I edited that and I changed it around to suit my needs as an artist. And I didn't have to worry about changing the formula or anything because the purpose was the same. I've been using that same Excel worksheet for the past 7 years, and it has really saved me a lot of time and a lot of effort and kept things very organized. And at a glance, I can see where things are coming in from, where they're going, what I need to focus on. It has helped me analyze all sorts of things, as I said before, like which shows work, which shows don't, where my potential client is. And it makes it really easy for me at tax time to just know where things are going and where things are coming in from and what I can claim and what I can't. I put everything down on it, from the smallest art supply to bus rides to events that require payment to enter, and even having coffee with a client. Every cent really adds up to a substantial amount throughout the year, and you really want to know where exactly everything is going. This really helps because you may not leave your day job now, but maintaining the cash flow sheets helps you see if that is even a realistic possibility. You will also realize that you may be spending a lot of money on things you don't really need at all. I mean, if you have a kitchen, do you really need to go out to buy coffee every day? Also, when you go to the dollar shop and you pick up things, you have to kind of think, did I really need that, and what was the use? Thinking about your future as an artist. One of the best things about maintaining a cash flow sheet is you can track your money over time and see your growth as an artist. When I look back to my first cash flow sheet, I am like really amazed and grateful that I kept track of things and took it seriously with a business mindset rather than just as a hobby, as like when I had started out. Over time, you analyze, you do your homework, you research, you look at the cash flow sheet, you can see where things are coming in from, you can decide on how you can improve the process, how to make things more efficient, what parts of your art should you focus on. And over time, as you grow your business, you may want to break down your income into something like 50%, 30%, and 20%, 50% being the amount of income you put away for things that are fixed, like your bills and like, groceries and stuff. 30% on, the art supplies you want or the trip you want to take. And 20% towards savings or paying off any debt that you have. Always important to put stuff, put an amount away and save up. And if you have some debt, you definitely want to pay that off first. That should be your first priority. So the cash flow sheet helps you prioritize your spending, focus on what is working, and it helps you make a plan for improvement. It also lets you determine possible streams of income, because you've got it all down on paper and you can see what money is coming from where and how much is coming in. Maybe you're focusing on a stream that really isn't bringing you in anything. So, I mean, you can just be realistic and focus more attention, more energy on streams that are bringing in a bigger income. Once you start thinking of it more as a profession or a business, you really start to focus on how to get more work. So maybe you just started out by painting pictures. You then realize that there's a lot of opportunities in public art projects or teaching or organizing art events. I've seen artists make customized art tools, from digital tools to, real tools that you can handle yourself. So there's a lot of possibilities, and I think the cash flow sheet really helps you see that. Since that cash flow sheet helped me so much, I would like to give it to you. It is available in the description as a downloadable link, and I will see you in the next video.